Mr. Peter Hain.
Mr. Speaker, having served for 24 years, can I commend your role as, in my view, the greatest reforming Speaker in memory, both by making the Commons immensely more user and citizen-friendly, and especially for the way you've enhanced backbench influence. Can I thank all the Commons staff, including our excellent Sergeant-at-Arms, and especially the doorkeepers, with whom I've had especially close relationships since I invited them in to share a few bottles of wine, South African wine, in the Leader of the Commons office. I thank my constituents in Neath and Neath Constituency Labour Party for their tremendous loyalty and support. I was a Pretoria boy, but I'm proud to have become a Neath man. When I first arrived, I was shown into a local primary school, Godregraig School in the Swansea Valley. This is a very important person to meet you, class. A little boy put his hand up in the front row and said, "Do you play rugby for Neath?" Clearly he had his priorities right. I've been both privileged and fortunate to have the very best friend anybody could have in Howard Davis of Seven Sisters, what he calls God's own country, in the Dillys Valley in Neath. I first met him in February 1990, a former miner who was lodge secretary at Blynan Colliery during the heart-rending year-long strike in 1984-5. My first agent and office manager, Howard, has always been completely loyal and supportive, but privately frank and direct. Priceless virtues I commend for anybody in national politics. Having come from a world of radical protest and activism, I never expected to be a minister for 12 years. It began when Alistair Campbell unexpectedly called and said, "Tony wants to make an honest man of you." Some former comrades on the left were disparaging, but my response was, "I've never been an all-or-nothing person, I'm an all-or-something person." And I'm proud of many of the achievements of our last Labour government, some of which I helped a little with, including bringing peace to Northern Ireland and devolution to Wales. However, there was a tabloid columnist who described me as the second most boring member of the Cabinet. My right honourable friend, the former Chancellor and member for Edinburgh South West, came top. At least that was more civil than the editor of the Sunday Express at the height of the anti-apartheid struggle, when I led campaigns to disrupt whites-only South African and rugby cricket tours. He said it would be a mercy for humanity if this unpleasant little creep were to fall into a sewage tank up to his ankles head first. Mr. Speaker, that was nothing compared with a letter bomb I received, fortunately a technical fault in it, or being put on trial for conspiracy at the Old Bailey for disrupting South African sports tours, or being charged with a bank theft I knew nothing about and was later discovered to have been set up by South African agents. But despite serving as an MP and Cabinet Minister and still remaining a Privy Councillor, I've not changed my belief that progressive change only comes through a combination of extra-parliamentary and parliamentary action. We know that from the struggles of the Chartists, the suffragettes, the early trade unionists, anti-apartheid protesters, anti-Nazi League and Unite Against Fascism activists confronting groups like the National Front and the BNP. Greenpeace activists also inspiring fights against climate change. And if I'm asked for advice by young people who often say to me, "Can you tell me how to have a career in politics?" I say it's not about a career, it's about a mission. We should never be in it for ourselves, but for our values. And for me, these are equality, social justice, equal opportunities, liberty and democracy in a society based on mutual care and mutual support, not the selfishness and greed now so sadly disfiguring Britain. These values underpinned the anti-apartheid struggle and brought me into the Labour Party nearly 40 years ago. But nothing I was able to achieve as an MP or minister was possible without the support of my family. My wife, Elizabeth Hayward, a rock to me, my wonderful sister, Sally, her daughter, Connie, my sons, Sam and Jake, and their mum, my former wife, Pat. But above all, my mother, Adeline, and father, Walter, for their values, their courage, their integrity, their morality and principle. My mum, when in jail on her own, was listening to black prisoners screaming in pain. My dad was banned and then deprived of his job. They did extraordinary things. But as Nelson Mandela said, what counts in life is not merely the fact that we've lived, it's what difference we've made to the lives of others. After 50 years in politics, some might say it's time to put your feet up. But I've been lucky to have the best father in the world. And he told me in the mid-1960s, when I was a teenager living in apartheid South Africa, if political change was easy, it would have happened a long time ago. Stick there for the long haul. That's exactly what I'll continue to do after leaving this House, Mr. Speaker.